I caught my parents watching me sleep. I live alone. I haven't been sleeping recently. Every time I drift off, I get the feeling I'm being watched. Last night, I confirmed that feeling. I've woken up in the middle of the night before, mainly to use the restroom. Last night was different. I woke up upon hearing heavy steps, and upon looking at the end of my bed, I saw my parents staring at me. Unmoving, they kept staring at me, grinning widely, side by side of each other. I was scared shitless. Then, after my breathing went down a bit, I shakingly asked a question.
Mom? Dad? What are you guys doing here this late?
My mom raised her finger to her mouth, shushing me. My dad moved to the side of my bed, pulling out a needle. Before I could move or fight it, the needle went in my arm, and my eyes turned heavy. I then woke up to light shining through my blinds. That was a weird nightmare, I thought, but what was weird was my whole body felt weak. I realized that my left arm felt sore. I looked down at my left arm and noticed a tiny red mark. To say I was beyond shocked and scared is an understatement. My own parents broke into my house and injected me with something. I was hurt, but also I wanted to know why. So I got dressed, grabbed my keys, and left to my parents' house. They lived 15 minutes away from me, so it wasn't a long drive. When I arrived, my dad's car was gone, but my mom's car was still in the driveway. I parked in my dad's spot and went to knock on the door. My mom opened the door. She was surprised, but excited to see me. She invited me in, and we went and sat down in the kitchen.
So what brings you by? How's work, hon? Why were you and Dad in my house last night? What are you talking about, Jenna? I saw you and Dad at the edge of my bed, watching me sleep, and Dad injected me with a needle.
I went to show her the red spot on my arm, but it was gone.
I'm sure you just had a bad dream, probably from working too hard at work.
After a little more talking, I left. I had to get to work, and I started thinking maybe it was a dream after all. I was known to jump to conclusions, even if they didn't make much sense after all. Just to be sure, on my lunch break, I bought a nanny cam. I worked next to a Walmart, so it was convenient. When I got home, I set up the camera facing my bed. So if it happened again, I would have it on camera. That night, I went to bed, a bit relieved, but still, I felt the feeling of being watched again. My eye felt heavy, and I drifted off into the deep darkness of my mind. When I woke up, I felt weak again. My left arm felt sore. I looked down and noticed the red spot. It was in the same area. I got up and turned on my computer. I had set up for any videos to be transferred onto my computer. What I watched confirmed my suspicions. I instantly grabbed my keys and raced off to my parents' house. When I got there, the front door was wide open. There was blood on the floor and glass. I called the police, and they found my parents deceased. They asked me to look at the footage from one of the security cameras. They seemed shook. As I watched the footage, it shook me to my core. It showed two figures breaking into my parents' house. After they dealt with my parents, they turned around, showing themselves to the camera. They looked exactly like them, my parents. Then the video cut. The police didn't know what to say. They were as disturbed as I was. The investigation went on, but it became a cold case. It's been a few weeks, and as I was moving stuff out of the house, I glanced out at the backyard. I swear I saw my parents at the edge of the tree line.